From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, Jabi Mall shut down following U.S. security advisory on terror risk. Nigerians oppose CBN's planned redesignation of Naira as misplaced priority. INEC commits to media collaboration for successful polls. And away from Nigeria, Ethiopian government accused of deadly airstrikes on Oromia region. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Now the details. Following the United States Embassy security advisory on the possibility of terror attacks in the Federal Capital Territory, malls have begun to close operations over fear of being attacked. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal monitored activities at the Jabi Lake Mall and filed in this report.
On October 23, 2022, the United States Department of State warned of possible terror attacks in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, especially on government buildings, places of worship, schools, and other centers where large crowds gather. It followed the warning on Tuesday with an advisory to United States citizens who are out of Nigeria to reconsider travel on Nigeria due to crime, terrorism, and other civil unrest, among others. Although the federal government has maintained the alert was baseless, security operatives were, however, spotted at the Jabi Lake malls while customers were denied entrance into the mall. Vendors at the mall described the action as demoralizing as they could not attend to their customers.
We just came this morning and we were denied space for selling our food items. We are calling on government and well-to-do individuals to come to our aid for us to keep food on the table for our families.
They say that they put bomb for the other Lugbe shop, right? So they want to investigate here. So that is the reason.
Security expert Kabiru Adamu stressed the need for Nigerians not to panic, but should rather be security conscious, as securing lives and property is not just the sole responsibility of the security personnel, but also responsibility of all.
So where foreign embassy, especially a friendly ally, and I emphasize that word, if an ally, a friendly one, is aware of an information or intelligence that could affect the host country, the established practice is to share that information with the host government.
This is not the first time we have had such, advisory notices, but this time around it was more precise and specific, terrorist attack on Abuja. And the starting point is, let's look at it. The previous instances, they have given such advisory notes and predicted, such things happening. Have they happened? If they have not, so what is the motive behind this consistent advisory notice?
Adamu urged security personnel, Kabir Adamu urged security personnel not to relent in their effort to curb the menace of terrorism, as it will go a long way to make the country safer. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In a related development, the United Kingdom's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office has advised British nationals against non-essential travels to the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, over threats of possible terrorist attack. The British High Commission in Abuja stated that it remained open for essential services. The advisory stated, quote, "The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office has updated its travel advice on 26 October to British nationals. The advisory advises against all but essential travel to the Federal Capital Territory, including Bauchi, Kano, Jigawa, Niger, Sokoto, Kogi, Abia, Plateau, Taraba, Niger and Kebbi states, and non-riverine areas of Delta, Bayelsa and Rivers State." The statement said that the British High Commission will constantly review the travel advice to reflect the current situation in Abuja and Nigeria. Meanwhile, the federal government says Nigerians should stop spreading unverified news but should be assured that relevant agencies are on top of the security situation across the country. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed spoke on Wednesday while reacting to the second travel advisory issued by both the US and the UK governments to their citizens in the country, insisting that Nigeria was safe. He spoke on a day government officials explained to Nigerians what had been done to mitigate the massive flooding across the country. They spoke to journalists at the State House in Abuja after the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Kehinde Amodu reports.
24 hours after the Minister of Information had accused the governments of the US and the UK of spreading fake terror alerts, the US had upgraded its security advisory to a level 4, granting emergency services to its citizens. But the information minister says the advisories were not properly analyzed by Nigerians and is advising citizens both at home and abroad to stop demarcating their country.
Clickbaiting, which is you find a story which is not verified and you immediately share it. It can always cause panic. But I want to reassure both citizens, non-Nigerians, Nigerians living in this country, that the security agencies are on top of this matter. Of course, the terrorists would not stop to try to embarrass or intimidate government. But what I'm saying is that this country is safe.
The federal government, it seems, is on the defensive this Wednesday and has had to defend its response to the massive flooding that has occurred across the country.
But there is no technology on earth, none, that can tell you the extent of the flood. None whatsoever. You work on the basis of data that you have before. Now that these rains have come, that is what hydrology is all about. Now that we have had this rain, this is a record. And now we are resetting the clock.
We have commenced distribution of relief materials to affected states, and the Federal Ministry of Health has been requested by my ministry to interface with the state ministries to intervene in medical-related matters.
Is in every state. We have a controller for works, we have a controller for housing in every state. So it's not in every instance that you will probably see me or the PAMSEC or the Minister of State, because the work starts from the field.
In the final analysis, despite the back and forth, what is important is what is done to mitigate the emergency that has arisen from the crisis. The cabinet members are pleading with Nigerians to join hands with government at all levels, with all NGOs and the private sector, to find a lasting solution to the problem. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Staying with security matters, the Nigerian Air Force has instituted a committee of officers to compile all allegations of accidental airstrikes on civilians, as well as review the circumstances leading to such airstrikes. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, stated this on Thursday at the opening ceremony of the 2022 Air Operations Seminar in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. He said that the committee will come up with far-reaching measures to mitigate future incidences of collateral damages on civilians during NAF operations. Amao noted that the investigation aims at promoting accountability, will allow NAF to learn valuable lessons to avoid or mitigate similar cases in the future, as well as take extra measures to minimize civilians' harm and casualties in conflict areas. On Nigeria's security challenges, he noted that the armed forces of Nigeria have made significant gains in curtailing and degrading the resources and capabilities of miscreants that seek to destabilize the nation. While congratulating 17 young pilots, Amao implored them to be prepared for the task ahead. Nigerians have been reacting to the recent decision by the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign 3 of the Naira's major denominations. The new notes, which will be released by December 15th, are expected to replace the old notes from January 31st, 2023. This decision has elicited responses from Nigerians who are asking how much of a difference this change makes to the country. Chamung Dabe has more.
The three denominations the CBN plans to redesign, according to the Apex Bank's governor, Godwin Emefiele, are the 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes. The move approved by President Muhammadu Buhari has so far garnered several reactions from the public and raised many questions, one of them being whether the move by the CBN is a misplaced priority, considering the several challenges the country is facing.
Well, I will start by commending his effort, but the time I would have loved him to wait. This dispensation has a little month. The current dispensation has a little month left. This is a type of project he should bring upstream when the new dispensation comes on board.
When I read this news yesterday, in fact, I was not happy because from the look of things, it's like the federal government have lost focus. To me, the federal government have lost focus. When we are talking about insecurity and other things, hunger, and there are a lot of challenges we are facing in this country, but the federal government are telling us that they want to redesign Naira. But it's uncalled for.
To reprint the new currency, the money is cost us as extra money, which is, to me, has no justification for, because presently our problem is not about to redesign our currency. We have a lot of problems in Nigeria that we need to face down to the currency, because we have a lot of debt we need to pay. To redesign our currency now, it implicates more cost on us.
In a bid to mop up the excess money in circulation, could the CBN inadvertently create a new set of problems for Nigeria?
The immediate impact, could be slowdown in GDP. We may also have a situation of, loss of jobs, what's here and there, and even a spike in the exchange rate, particularly in the parallel markets. You should expect that some people may want to take advantage of the days and will now besiege the parallel markets to offload the cash they have. So you are likely to have some of these immediate, reactions, but they are going to be short-lived.
Let's look at it from the point of the economic impacts as a policy. With that impact in curbing the rising inflation figure, the answer is no, because it's actually counterproductive. And let's also look at it from the time frame they are looking at. They are just looking at 90 days, 3 months. How could you succeed to take away about close to 3.4 trillion naira within 90 days from the circulation? That's impossible. That's a total policy somersault. You are going to put a lot of pressure to the system, and that is not welcome at this very point in time. You are using 90 days to do such kind of a huge. In other clients, they give 1 year, 6 months minimum. Why are you going for 90 days? It's going to put a lot of pressure on those who hold in such cash.
With barely 2 months between the release date and the deadline, is the timeline given realistic, and how well thought out is the plan by the central bank?
This is the time of politics and politicking. Elections are around the corner, and if the policy succeeds, fine and good. But if it backfires, then it will likely have disastrous consequences for the ruling party. And from the analysis I have read and heard, so far by the experts, it can go either way. Governments usually give this kind of deadlines only for them to extend them. So probably at the back of their minds, they may have these plans that if there are outcries, or if it is very obvious that 6 weeks will be inadequate, there may be extension.
Whether good or bad, Nigerians have one option, and that is to act accordingly. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now to political matters. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reaffirmed its readiness to partner with the media for a successful exercise. INEC disclosed this at the Commission's quarterly consultative meeting with the media in Abuja. Noel Sampson was there and now reports.
The INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakub said partnership with the media is crucial because of the important role it plays in information dissemination adding that success in election will to a large extent be determined by the effectiveness of the information transmitted to the electorate.
From the outset, that the Commission appreciates the partnership with media executives and media organizations. Already we have achieved so much working together for electoral reform, voter education, campaign for peaceful elections, the advocacy against electoral malpractices such as vote buying, and many more. Of printing of remaining PVCs for new voters, as well as those that applied for transfer or the replacement of their lost or damaged cards. In the coming days, we'll also inform Nigerians of the detailed plan to ensure a seamless collection of the PVCs. We are aware that Nigerians expect an improvement in the procedure for PVC collection. We're working to ensure that citizens have a pleasant experience when they come to collect their cards. The media has a pivotal role to play, and we appeal to you for your continuous support. We shall continue to work together to counter disinformation and misinformation. We will remain transparent and provide the required information to combat the triple menace of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news.
The National Treasurer of the NUJ, who represented the UNO's chairman, assured the chairman of support to ensure that the pool are successful.
The way or manner in which Ekiti and Osun elections were conducted, governorship elections were conducted, had shown the readiness of INEC to conduct free, fair, credible election at every point in time. We must caution at this point that tantrums is not in the best interest of our polity. Rather, it will eat up our polity. The political class should learn how to sell their manifestos to the people rather than throwing tantrums.
Stakeholders at the meeting called on the media to stick to the ethics of journalism, especially during the campaigns, to enable voters make informed decisions. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it will continue to partner with the Independent National Electoral Commission to curb vote buying, especially during the 2023 elections. The chairman of the EFCC, Abdulrasheed Bawa, said this in an interview with journalists in Abuja on Thursday, shortly after defending the Commission's 2023 budget before the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption. The report.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Chairman, Abdulrasheed Bawa, said that the Commission will collaborate with INEC in the area of arrest and prosecution of persons involved in vote buying. Bawa noted already cases of those arrested for vote buying in previous elections were ongoing in courts.
There is an electoral act that defines how election funds should be managed and who should finance elections. And I think that is the law of the land. You understand? And Nigerians are law-abiding, and the EFCC is working towards ensuring, that all of that is in compliance with by all Nigerians and politicians. And we are working hand in gloves with INEC and other stakeholders to ensure that happens.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Chairman lauded the planned redesigning of the Naira notes by the Central Bank of Nigeria, adding it is a welcome development as it will enable the Commission to monitor people holding currencies legitimately as against illegitimate ones.
It's a good thing that that the country is redesigning its currency now, because how can you control how can you have an effective monetary policy when you don't have control over 85% of your currency is out there and people are holding it. People are using that to speculate on the foreign exchange and all of that.
On the fight against cybercrime, Bawa urged you to support the Commission to rid the nation of the menace and other criminal activities associated with cyberspace.
These are people from, these are Nigerians from my own constituency, the youthful constituency. They should join, me in fighting the scourge of, cybercrime. It bleeds my heart when they are doing something that ordinarily they shouldn't do, you know, and all of it. We are working, it's part of our mandate to fight cybercrime, to fight advanced fee fraud, and that is the only thing that we have been doing, and we are working in conformity with the law. As at the 22nd of October this year, we have succeeded in securing 2,847 convictions, you know, and over 70% has to do with the issue of cybercrime.
Bawa also thanked the National Assembly for supporting the Commission through landmark legislation designed to further assist it to deliver on its mandate.
Now, amid political permutations ahead of the 2023 general elections, two All Progressives Congress governors on Wednesday night visited Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike in Port Harcourt, the state capital. Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi and his Cross River State counterpart Ben Ayade were accompanied by Governor Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State to Port Harcourt. Wike and Ikpeazu are power brokers in the People's Democratic Party. The duo, alongside three other PDP governors of Oyo, Enugu and Benue, have for months demanded the removal of PDP National Chairman Iyorchia Ayu as a precondition to support the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. On the other hand, Umahi dumped the PDP in November 2020 and joined the APC. He would later contest the APC presidential primary but lost to former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu. Similarly, Ayade left the PDP for the APC in May 2021 and jostled to the ruling party's flag bearer. However, like Umahi, failed to emerge victorious. Wike and Umahi were former allies before the latter's move to the APC. The two engaged in war of words following the defection of the Ebonyi State Governor to the APC. A federal high court in Abuja has adjourned hearing in the suit instituted by the People's Democratic Party seeking removal of Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle to March 20, 2023 to await the Supreme Court decision on a similar appeal. Justice Inyang Eko on Thursday said that the parties can return on the adjourned date after decision in the appeal filed by the PDP against Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State. PDP brought the suit in March seeking the removal of Governor Matawalle and about 32 members of the Senate, House of Representatives and State Assembly who defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. In the suit, PDP is seeking a declaration that following the Supreme Court judgment of 2019 in APC and another versus Senator Kabiru Marafa and 179 others, only members of the PDP, including Matawalle, were entitled to hold the office of the governor and deputy governor or member of the Zamfara State House of Assembly. A federal high court in Gusau on Thursday adjourned to 31st of October 2022 an application in the suit against Governor Bello Muhammad and three others for alleged perjury. The three others in the suit are the state chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the All Progressives Congress APC, and the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC. Justice Aminu Bappa adjourned to enable the court to rule on the motion the Action People's Party APP brought before it seeking to be joined as the third claimant in the substantive suit of perjury against the Zamfara Governor Bello Muhammad. The group Northern Youth Assembly alleged in the suit that there were discrepancies in the academic and birth certificates Governor Muhammad presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC to seek re-election in the 2023 general election. The case, earlier filed at the Federal High Court Abuja, was transferred to the Federal High Court sitting in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital.
Our motion was made now, though the matter was adjourned to first for ruling, whether the court will consider us joint or not, which we pray the court will join us. Well, actually, we were supposed to have brought this suit ourselves, but due to the time frame, we were not able to do that so we have to be joined those that have brought the suit against the government, which we are still praying for the court to join us.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at rising cases of rape in Katsina. Details of this and more after the break.
This is the road leading up to the Lokoja Bridge from Abuja, and as you can see, tankers carrying fuel, trucks carrying livestock, perishables, and commuters trying to make their way from point A to point B have all been slowed down as a result of the flooding going on in Lokoja.
As I tell you, so my house is inside water like this.
This is my house, Big Breezy is my house.
We have no option than to come here and look for what we chop.
This water have really spoiled many things. Even as I'm talking to you, I'm not in my own house.
I want to encourage them and assure them that their governor, the governor they elected, had come to see them. And government officials have been going there to see them. They are not in this alone. We are with them.
Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust Television. Here's a recap of our top stories again. Jabi Mall shut down following U.S. security advisory on terror risk. Nigerians oppose CBN's planned redesignation of Naira as misplaced priority. Moving on, a civil society organization says refusal of hospitals to treat gunshot victims without submission of a police report is contrary to the provisions of the law. Addressing a press conference in Lagos, the executive director of Crime Victims Foundation, Glory Ebuchi, said that despite the compulsory treatment and care of victims of gunshots and accidents bill, which was passed into law in 2017, some hospitals still reject gunshot victims, leading to loss of lives. She cited examples of victims who lost their lives due to refusal by hospitals to treat them, saying that life is sacred and should be treated as such.
Of police report, a condition before treatment. Some Nigerian hospitals have continued to demand for police report before putting the lives of such victims at risk. In the last 18 months, Nigeria has lost some of her citizens through careless refusal of hospitals to accept the victims for treatment. While Nigerians await the amendment to the Gunshot and Accident Victims Law, we wish to call on all the other states of the Federation which are yet to domesticate the law to do so in order to prevent an escape route for hospitals and medical staff who will want to plead the non-existence of such law in the states, since the issue of health is in the concurrent list of the Constitution.
Bandits in Zamfara State have attacked a police outpost in Magami community in Gusau, Zamfara State capital, and seized the phones of police officers on duty. Magami, one of the conflict-ravaged communities in Zamfara State, has seen several residents flee the community as a result of incessant attacks by terrorists. According to Abdul Balarabe, a local journalist who reports terror attacks in the state, the gunmen arrived in the community around 3:40 p.m. He said that after collecting the phones, the terrorists shot into the air before they went back into the bush. Community sources told Trust TV that the bandits stormed the station with the intention of freeing one of them who was detained there. However, the suspect had been reportedly transferred to the state police headquarters by the time they got there. Bandits have reportedly killed the vigilante chairman of Dang Ali village in the Musa local government area of Katsina state. The bandits attacked and killed the chairman on Thursday, few meters away from military base at Mararabar Dang Ali along Ankara Katsina Road. Residents of the affected communities in the Musa local government area told Abdullahi Yamadi that they are having sleepless nights as bandits' activities are escalating in the area. Residents are also calling on security operatives to investigate reports of many suspected motorcycles being delivered to terrorists in the nearby bushes. Now, a member of the vigilante group, with the help of a Daily Trust dispatch officer in Kano, has recovered a tricycle suspected to have been used by hoodlums who attacked and snatched a mobile phone belonging to one Tasiu Jibrin. The incident, which happened in the early hours of Thursday, is among the daily incidences of phone snatching around the Media Trust Regional Office complex in Gandu layout of Kano Metropolis. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin, who also witnessed the incident, has the report.
At about 7 a.m. on Thursday, some young men numbering 3 inside tricycle attacked this man and snatched his phone around Daily Trust Regional Office in Kano.
Misalin karfe 7 da kamar minti 30 da wani abu a nan bayan.
Around 7:30 a.m. I was coming when I saw them passing with tricycle. Later they stopped and brought out knife. From there I panicked and gave them the phone. It was after they ran I started shouting before one Daily Trust staff followed them on his motorcycle.
Shortly after, a Daily Trust dispatch officer, Isa Abdullahi, with the help of these members of the vigilante group, pursued the suspect, who eventually left the tricycle and took off with the stolen phone.
They have run away. Before, when running away, they now remove knife to me. They now even tell one guy that was the one that is going through in their front, remove knife for them, and now even cut his hand again.
I was at work when I heard people shouting. When I came out, I was told that some thieves have snatched someone's phone. So I carried a stone and followed them. But I was on foot. But with the help of one Daily Trust staff, we were able to recover their tricycle.
Daily Trust sai buga mashin ɗinsa sai ya bi su.
Phone snatching and other related crimes are daily occurrences around the area. Zainab Yusuf is the Daily Trust head of administration in Kano, who was recently attacked and injured by phone snatchers while on her way to enter the office.
It was around 7:30 a.m. when some men attacked me and tried to snatch my bag. While we were struggling for the bag, they brought out a knife and stabbed me in the hand, and so I released the bag to them.
For now, the tricycle suspected to have also been stolen has been handed over to the police by the vigilante group for further investigation. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Police authorities in Katsina have raised alarm over increasing rape cases in the state from January this year till date. The police command recorded 198 cases of rape with 207 suspected rapists arrested. Abdullahi Yamadi has details of the report.
The police spokesman SP Gambo Isa explains that while the police command is investigating cases, many suspects have been taken to various courts for prosecution. Similarly, rape cases are also pending at Ministry of Justice for legal advice to facilitate proper prosecution.
It was discovered that part of this country, the northwest region, especially Kano, Katsina, Jigawa, are having this alarming rise in cases of rape. Not only rape, but even in abuse of drugs. And that's what we have been doing to see that in collaboration with relevant stakeholders like the traditional institution, the religious leaders. Not only that, even the NGOs like RAPA and some others were working in partnership to see that communities are being sensitized so that issue of rape and other violent crimes against women and girls have come down in the states.
Teenage pregnancies from the reported rape cases also remain a source of worry for the police, calling on relevant stakeholders to engage parents on the responsibility of ensuring proper parental guidance and control of children. The Federation of International Women Lawyers and the Human Rights Network in Katsina State are concerned about the many frustrated cases of rape by the police operatives.
When you look at what is happening, sometimes we don't know whether it's a psychological problem or a mental problem, or is it that they are taking drugs, or is it that they are using these children for any charm or juju? Because we don't even understand why. A 70, 60, 50-year-old be raping 6, 4, 7-year girl. And when you go to the other side, you see 20-year-old, 17, raping 16, 17, 8, 15 to 17. Probably, maybe I love you, I will marry you. But when you look at the other way, we don't know. But there is a concern, and there should be a research on that issue.
Aggressive media campaigns and quick dispensation of justice, many believe will help in addressing the menace. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Chinese national Geng Huangrong, accused of killing his Nigerian lover, Kulsum Sani Buhari, has denied charges leveled against him before a Kano High Court. At the resumed hearing on Thursday, Kano State Attorney General Musa Abdullahi Lawal presented the court with an interpreter, Kwa Kumru, from the Chinese embassy in Nigeria. He said that sequel to the adjournment of the trial over the absence of an interpreter, the ministry wrote to the embassy, which availed them with one. When the charges were read to him, the accused denied the content of the charge leveled against him, while the Attorney General prayed the court to adjourn the case by 2 weeks to enable them tender witnesses on the 14th, 15th and 16th of November. Defense counsel, led by Muhammad Balarabe Dang Azumi, however, objected, while Justice Sunusi Ado Ma'aji adjourned to 16th, 17th and 18th of November for further hearing. Security experts say that security challenges in Nigeria can only be tackled if there is will on the side of the government. The experts believe that if properly equipped, security agencies can end security challenges before the end of the year. Here's the report.
Nigeria has been battling security challenges like Boko Haram insurgency, banditry, cattle rustling, among others. Despite effort by the security agencies to tackle the menace, these challenges continue to linger for over a decade, with many Nigerians forced to relocate to safer places. Many feel relieved when Interior Minister Rauf Aregbesola said government will end insecurity before the end of the year. Also, the Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, has said that Nigerians will begin to see success in the fight against terrorism and other crimes. However, security experts highlighted some of the setbacks recorded in the fight against insecurity.
A little bit hamstring all that has been, affecting the general move, I think, is the strength. When I say strength, the number of the fighting troops. If you look at the land area, honestly, left, right, center, if there is a body of men fighting in the center, there should be on the left of it another body of men, on the right of it body that is neighboring fighting this thing. In case we hit there, this one, if there is an escape, you block here, block. This is what I mean. So that's that.
Ending insecurity completely is going to be very, very difficult. Even in the Americas, or in the UK, in China, in Germany, in other countries of the world where you have high security network in terms of technology and manpower, you still find a pocket of crimes here and there.
According to them, ending insecurity is achievable only if there is will to do so.
If the will is there, it is very much achievable. You understand me? What are the ingredients of the will? Very good equipping of the troops that are fighting, more intelligence report from the general public, much more prayers from the general public.
Nigerians are hopeful that security challenges will be a thing of the past in no distant future. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Residents of Karanaya and part of Hadejia in Jigawa State who were recently displaced by floods are lamenting the lack of adequate hygiene materials and potable drinking water because of recent floods. They are now living in temporary IDP camps provided for victims of the flood in Jigawa. The Gandun Sarki camp in Hadejia local government area, which is a primary school building where the IDPs and the students share classrooms, has only one source of water. Kaltume Isa, one of the victims of Gandun Sarki camp in Hadejia local government area, lamented how their toilet is contaminated and unhygienic due to insufficient toilets in their camp. Meanwhile, the acting commissioner for health in the state, Salisu Mazu, says that the government is doing its best to control the outbreak of cholera in the camps and other communities affected by the floods across the state. Now, flood has submerged so many schools in some communities in Delta State. Our correspondent reports that primary and secondary schools were affected by the flood. Some of the schools sacked by the flood include Ovrode Primary School as well as virtually all schools in Ofagwe and Igbede communities in Isoko South local government area. The flood did not spare schools in communities under Patani and Bomadi, as several victims have relocated to safer abodes with their children who no longer go to school. The State Commissioner of Information, Heidu Charles, insisted that children are going to school, adding that the state government has established learning zones in IDP camps to avoid the dislocation of academic calendar within the camps. Now, stakeholders in the health sector in Zamfara State have expressed dissatisfaction with the elites, especially in the Gusau metropolis, for not allowing them to be immunized. They raised the alarm at a meeting with media practitioners in Gusau aimed at informing them of the campaign against measles and meningitis, which is expected to kickstart on the 3rd of November. The report.
The meeting harped on the need for the media practitioners to play their role of enlightening and sensitizing residents in the state to embrace the vaccine to prevent the outbreak of the disease in the state. The meeting, attended by the Zamfara State Primary Healthcare Board, United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF, and the media practitioners in Zamfara State, was to fine-tune their preparedness ahead of the campaign against measles and meningitis in the state. The Executive Secretary, Zamfara State Primary Healthcare Board, represented by the state's Health Education Officer Kabiru Anjakura, disclosed that the state does not want a repeat of 2017, when there was an outbreak of the disease in Zamfara State with devastating effects on the residents. He stressed that this informed the proactive steps taken by the Zamfara State government and its partners to prevent any outbreak of the disease.
This is my call to the caregivers. This is an opportunity, and we shouldn't allow it to be missed. Let's use this opportunity and ensure that our childs are being immunized and protected against those deadly childhood diseases.
Kabiru Anjakura appealed to parents to make their children available to receive the vaccination against measles and meningitis, describing measles as one of the leading child killer diseases.
It has left a painful experience in our mind still, because it kills a lot of our children, a lot of our peoples, and still measles is being one of the leading killer of our young children, especially under 5.
The state's health education officer, Kabiru Danjakura, called on elites in Zamfara State to become good ambassadors and role models to other people by bringing out their children to receive the immunization vaccines, pointing out that doing this will help to make the state free of diseases.
You're watching the news on Trust Television. We'll take a short break, and then when we return, the news continues. Join us again.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Rewa kamar ta saka mai wuya ya zo ya haɗe su kap.
This is not the first time it's happening. It has happened before, but this time around, like I said, the intensity and the volume of water that has come has done more damage than even the past.
No food, no clothing, and no shelter. Until tomorrow, every year, there is a budget line for us in Hausa Dam. Every year, because I've seen it and I know it. But till tomorrow, nothing has been done about it.
So the Nigerian factor certainly is one of the reasons why communities like this have to suffer.
Ba wani rayuwar da zamu sake yi mu ji dadi kuma.
Thanks for staying. You're watching the news hour on Trust Television. Now, moving on, Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, says Islamic Development Bank is impacting the nation's economy and is helping address rising poverty. Bayero played host to the president of Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Muhammad Suleiman Al-Jassa, on courtesy visit in his palace. The Emir said that the bank has become an enabler for job creation and empowerment for the poor people. Dr. Al-Jassa told the Emir that Kano will benefit from the bank's $90 million agro-pastoral development project.
We are aware that the Islamic Development Bank has over the years contributed in no small measure towards poverty alleviation and the provision of infrastructure in its member countries with the aim of enhancing the living condition of the people. For this and many more, we commend the bank and its leadership, and we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to guide the leadership as it steers the affairs of the bank for the good of humanity.
It is an honor to be in the presence of all of these distinguished people. You are surrounded by Your Highness. We in the Islamic Development Bank believe strongly that cooperation and support of our people who are in need is an Islamic obligation. And this is why I wanted to come here in person to observe by myself and for myself what is happening here, especially as far as the implementation of the projects we have, particularly in the agricultural and pastoral area, and all of the other elements of the project, including the veterinary lab and the veterinary care for the pastoral economy you have in this region.
Let's now take a look at business updates as presented by Chamon Dabeng.
Using the Sentinel National Payment Gateway and computerized solution, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has started deducting taxes at transaction points from online game transactions. Integrated payment service providers can deduct taxes at the time of transaction and quickly remit the taxes deducted to the government's treasury. The deployment of Sentinel National Payment Gateway would make tax compliance for businesses involved in online gaming easier, according to a public announcement from FIRS signed by its chairman, Mohammed Nami, and directing full compliance from the online gaming community. According to the FIRS, all companies providing online gaming services in Nigeria must link to the Sentinel National Payment Gateway, deduct tax from online gaming transactions, and submit same directly to the relevant government's treasury by no later than December 31st, 2022. The National Bureau of Statistics says the cost of 12.5 kg of cooking gas increased by 61% from 6,165 naira in September 2021 to 9,906 naira in September 2022. The NBS revealed this in a paper titled Liquefied Petroleum Gas Price Watch for September 2022. According to the Bureau's examination of state profiles, Cross River had the highest average retail price for the commodity at 10,937 naira, followed by Kogi and Oyo at 10,760 naira and 10,724 naira respectively. On the other hand, Yobe had the lowest average price at 8,350 naira, followed by Katsina and Taraba with 8,545 naira and 9,026 naira respectively. The Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers advised Nigerians against panic buying in light of the recent force majeure declaration by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited and the rising price of gas. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
The International Energy Agency said Wednesday it believes that global emissions will peak in 2025 as surging energy prices due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine propel investment in renewables. The IEA disclosed this in its latest annual World Energy Outlook report. It said that the global energy crisis triggered by Russia's invasion of Ukraine is causing profound and long-lasting changes that have the potential to hasten the transition to a more sustainable and secure energy system. Based on the latest measures and policies announced by the governments in the face of soaring energy prices, the IEA forecasts global clean energy investment to rise by more than 50% from today's levels to $2 trillion per year by 2030. Global CO2 emissions are then set to fall back slowly from a high point of 37 billion tons per year to 32 billion tons by 2050. Now, two organizations from Ethiopia's Oromia region have accused the army of conducting airstrikes that have killed hundreds of civilians there in recent days, just as peace talks on the separate Tigray conflict were about to start. Government and army spokespersons did not respond on Thursday to request for comment on the accusations made by the opposition Oromo Liberation Front and outlawed armed splinter group, the Oromo Liberation Army. A civilian in Oromia, which is in western Ethiopia and surrounds the federal capital Addis Ababa, said that he witnessed an air raid on Sunday in which about 60 people, including his uncle, were killed. Oromia, home to Ethiopia's largest ethnic group, numbering over 40 million, has experienced unrest for many years, rooted in grievances about marginalization and neglect by the federal government, which has at times cracked down on the region. Now, authorities in Tanzania have deployed more than 400 porters and tour guides to battle a fire that broke out in Africa's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro, which has been raging due to strong winds. The blaze had reignited in 3 fields by early Tuesday. The permanent secretary in charge of tourism, Eliamani Sedoyeka, confirmed. The fire in the region reignited in areas that were previously under control, for which more than 500 officers from the defense and security forces alongside tourism stakeholders were deployed. 2 years ago, a week-long inferno destroyed thousands of hectares of woodland on the slopes of the mountain. Mount Kilimanjaro, which measures 5,895 high, is a popular tourist destination and attracts thousands of people every year. Let's now take a look at sports updates as presented by Mardia Umar.
Flamengo skipper Alvin de Zosso says she and her teammates will do everything possible to beat Germany and win the third-place match at the Under-17 Women's World Cup in India. The Flamingos lost 6-5 on penalties against Colombia in the semi-final on Wednesday. On their part, the Germans lost 1-0 to reigning Under-17 Women's champions Spain in the second semi-final and will hope to end the tournament on a high note by beating the Flamingos a second time. And to Qatar 2022, Tunisia coach Jalil Qadri has stated his personal ambition at the year's World Cup in Qatar is to get his team into the knockout stages of the tournament for the first time. Since making its debut at the 1978 World Cup in Argentina, Tunisia has never gone beyond the group stage. They will be making a 6th appearance at the World Cup and are in the group stage with reigning champions France, Denmark and Australia this year's edition. In June this year, Qadri led Tunisia to win the Kirin Cup but hinted he could quit if the 2004 African winners failed to get out of the group stage in Qatar. Tunisia will open their campaign against Denmark on November 22 before facing Australia 4 days later and then France on November 30. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has been fined £30,000 by the Football Association following his sending off during his side's 1-0 win against Manchester City on October 16. Klopp was dismissed after berating a referee's assistant when a foul was not given for a challenge on Mohamed Salah. The German apologized for his reaction in his post-match comments, but the FA said he accepted that his behavior was improper and an independent regulatory commission imposed the sanction during a hearing. But Liverpool can appeal against the sanction. And finally, in tennis, top seed Daniil Medvedev cruised into the second round of the ATP tournament in Vienna with a straight-set victory over Nicolas Basilashvili. The Russian won 6-2, 6-2 to set up a meeting with fellow former US Open champion Dominic Thiem, who saved 2 match points in a dramatic win over American Tommy Paul on Tuesday. Medvedev, who is world number 4, broke twice in each set and did not even face a break point as he won in only an hour. Second seed Stefanos Tsitsipas saw off home hope Denis Novak 7-6, 7-2, 6-2 in his opening match.
And that's a wrap on the News Hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel where we stream live 24/7. Thanks for watching. I am Ayuba Ilya. Bye for now.